Hello everyone. Today we'll discuss about Model 3, that is session 3.2 of the AJAX application. We'll discuss about what is AJAX web application model. Okay, so basically it tells that it is a model. So based on that of how it works. The first point, AJAX application uses model uses JavaScript and XML HTTP request objects for a synchronous data exchange. Since synchronous is in the sense that it doesn't make the user wait, it performs the operations when based on the event clicked and triggered, and uses HTML request to exchange data asynchronously over the client and server. So basically when the client sends something to the server responds back to the client, that is the synchronous. So this AJAX makes that in a synchronous way. Okay, so AJAX also solves the major problems of synchronous request, which is there in the traditional web application, where the user have to wait for the response, then the page loads, etc. AJAX also has a new approach to web applications, which is based on several technologies that helps developing applications with better user experience. User experience sense, suppose if you have an ERP software, okay, you search with the employee ID. So you have in traditional you have to wait for the response, that is the values to be generated and displayed onto your screen. So there is a time consuming. So if you use AJAX, whenever you write the employee ID, you get the results as soon as you click on the submit button. Okay, that is a statement under this sentence. It uses JavaScript and XML. Why? Because it is supported and used and built on these technologies. XML in order to exchange the data between multiple or different technologies like ASP.NET, Java. So this is an application model of the AJAX. Here is a browser, that is we are here. Suppose we are sitting on the front of a screen, PC or laptop, you are here. So when you request something, that is suppose you are in a Gmail, you are logging your mail, or instead of Gmail, suppose you are in a Facebook, you are doing some registration. So what you do, you enter the credentials and hit the submit button. Okay, so you can see this AJAX engine. This what it does, before the page loads, it fetches all the records from this server. That is, you can see this XML. For that reason, it is used to exchange data between multiple technologies like ASP and Java. So suppose if you're logging on to Gmail using Facebook, or you're logging to Facebook using Gmail, there's an API technology, right? So for using API, XML will be used. That is application programming interface. Okay, so before the page load, AJAX fetches all the data from here and stores it here, and whenever the user interacts with the machine, it fetches all the details and just displays to the user. Okay, the next point, the AJAX application eliminates the start, stop, nature, all the click and wait refresh. This is the thing where AJAX is explaining from the first point, that is, it doesn't make the user wait for the results to be popped up on the screen. Okay, and one more, every user action that normally would generate HTTP request takes the form of JavaScript called the AJAX. Okay, since the meaning of this is that whenever you make a request, the whole only this request will go here, not the entire request like the HTML CSS. In the traditional, the HTML CSS would be only here. And suppose if you have the insert query and you want to display the records inserted, so that you need to show in HTML with the CSS designer. For that reason, AJAX sends its only command and returns back to the user, and only the HTML CSS required to generate that results to show to the user, it will be here. Okay, so that's the one of the feature of this AJAX. The server response compresses data and not the presentation. That is, it transfers data between the server and the client, resulting in much more faster transmission and presentation. That is, the HTML CSS is implemented on the on that data with the help of markup language from AJAX engine. That is, you can see here HTML CSS. This is a markup language, JavaScript. Whatever records is fetched here, it will be shown in the form of HTML CSS design and JavaScript to the user. In JavaScript, it's possible to fill web forms and click buttons even when the JavaScript has made a request. That is, suppose if you're clicking on a button, that is submit, and if you, at the same time, if you're clicking on some other page with some other functionality, that also works simultaneously. So there is no conflict or no waiting for the user. You can do 2 or 3 operations in a single page. AJAX engine between the client and the application. It's where the server does asynchronous communication. Okay, AJAX engine does and supports only asynchronous communication between the client and the server. And also it takes care of the displaying UI and the interaction with the server on the user's behalf. That is, suppose if there is a HTML tag should be shown dynamically here, it takes care, that is, the AJAX takes care of that. Suppose if I want to show the records dynamically, suppose in the PHP you want to generate tables dynamically from the database, so by using AJAX you can do that. That is, suppose the HTML tags are here but the data is here. What it does, it loads the data here, and whatever it needs to be shown in the form of HTML table tags, it will generate here and display to the user, hence reducing the time complexity, that is making it eliminating the user to wait. Okay, this is a traditional diagram of before the implementation of AJAX. The client has server interactivity. Whether you want a response, data transmission, user waits. This is the drawback, user waits. Data transmission, again interactivity. System processing, here it checks whether that records is there or not. Whether the records is not there, what to do. And after that, again transmission, user integrity, again he has to wait till the server completes the processing and transmission. So this is the wait, stop, wait transmission, that is synchronous mode of communication. But since when we used AJAX, so there's a lot of difference. Client, browser, user interface, you can see here in client we have browser, user interactivity and AJAX engine. Client side processing, here it generates the HTML, CSS, JavaScript, ASP tags, everything. Here's the server data, the database. Suppose you click enter, it will go here. Before this everything, AJAX loads everything from the server. Okay, it fetches here, and whatever the records which are new, it will take on the next page load. But before only whatever the client requests, it will take from here and it generates the HTML and displays it. You can see here input, and since I said we can do more than 2 or 3 operations at a single page simultaneously, so that is an input here, again display input again. Here you can see the data transmission. If on server, suppose the data is not there but the data is new in the server, it will catch here on the next page load. For that is in data transmission. Input display, the same one. This is known as asynchronous mode of communication. The same points are being explained in this here, which I have explained generally. Clarify the user responses to the user actions do not involve the trip back to the server. See here, the main point, responses to the user actions do not involve the trip back to the server. Whatever the operations are here, it will be fetched here, and whatever the client requires, it will take from here. That way display input. If AJAX needs something from the server like retrieving data or additional interface, the engine makes the interaction with the server using JavaScript and XML HTTP request object for synchronous data exchange. So if there is any new record, it waits for the page load, again it fetches from here to here and will be ready for the next client interaction. The last point, the engine's interaction with the server does not interrupt the user's interaction. So another main point, that is when the engine exchanges the data between the server and the AJAX, okay, not the server and the client, this interaction, it doesn't disturb the user, that it doesn't load this page. Since I'm explaining you this page, if I load here, so you'll get an interruption now. To provide that, that feature is being used in this AJAX. So this was the AJAX web application model. If you have any doubts, just message me, and thank you for your time.